guys? The Bench Buddies are back with our Week 6 NFL Power Rankings. But before I get into it, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Get to 200 subscribers where I'll be doing that autograph item giveaway. It can be some autograph cards, autograph jerseys, autograph posters. So stay tuned. All you have to do is enter and just hit that subscribe button. But let's get into it here. 32, we got the Commanders dropping the dead last. And how can you not put them at last when your head coach is ripping your quarterback when he's probably a top 10 quarterback so far this year? It's not on Carson Wentz. He's doing his part. He almost won the game for him. He just got intercepted in the last play of the game, and they could be here sitting 2-3, looking better with a big win against the Titans. But obviously, the other big story was Brian Robinson Jr. making his return after getting shot. Yes, that's correct. And he didn't have too much. He's on a limited script, but his time will come in the next coming weeks. 31, we have the Panthers. Their big story was Matt Rule was fired. He pretty much just did not work since the start. The Teddy Bridgewater year, his first year was decent, but after that, it just slowly started going downhill. McCaffrey, DJ Moore, are they going to be on the trade block now? Now that Rule's gone, could they start the rebuild and get some picks and some younger guys? 30, we got the Detroit Lions, who got obliterated to the Patriots, didn't score, lost 29-0. They're heading into the bye with a lot of question marks, but I think they can come out of it and start winning a few games. They've been in almost every game besides this one, and they're still the highest scoring offense, but they just got to show up. And maybe Dan Campbell going for it on fourth down 6 times just isn't the plan from now on. Maybe we should punt a few more times, but they're hoping to get, Swift fully healthy, Amon-Ra St. Brown healthy, and Jamal Williams obviously has been really good for them. So if they can get everyone healthy, this offense could be starting to click. 29, we got the Steelers after their embarrassing loss to the Bills. This week they face the Bucs at home, so it doesn't get any easier. But this team obviously is missing TJ Watt. Wow, that's bad. TJ Watt, and it's pretty obvious. That first game, he pretty much was a game wrecker, and now they don't have anyone that's even comparable to that. Najee Harris disappeared, non-existent, not even in the pass game. Kenny Pickett, I think he's going to be pretty solid. He did have one pick, but, he's slinging the ball around on a decent Bills defense with over 300 passing yards. Obviously, didn't get a touchdown or anything to come from it, but this team, definitely has potential later in the year. The Bears come in at 28 after their loss to the Vikings. Kind of gave this one away, and it was a late game, 22-22, let the Vikings score and just couldn't come back from that. But Justin Fields, has been playing a little better. They just need to let him air it out more. I think that's the problem there in Chicago. He's not really being himself. They're not really letting him go. But the pass defense has been very good this year, but that run defense is atrocious, and that's why the Dalvin Cook had a good day. 27, we got the Falcons. Tough loss to the Bucs. They were down, I think 21-0, and they started coming back. But the big thing from this is the Tom Brady roughing the passer call that was called, which was terrible, probably one of the worst calls I've seen this year. And if that changes, maybe the Falcons go down and win this game and pull off the upset. But obviously that didn't happen. Brady got bailed, and they didn't get the ball back after that. So a lot of things could have happened here with this Falcons team as they look to rebound against the 49ers. 26, we got the Seahawks moving up to even after their loss to the Saints. Obviously, the big story from this game was Rashad Penny broke with his broken leg. Kenneth Walker stepped up with a big game in his spot. But the defense really just can't stop anything right now. They still put up 32 and lost to the Saints. Taysom Hill obviously went off. But Geno Smith is looking like the solution here in Seattle. 3 touchdowns, almost 300 passing yards, and surprisingly enough, I think he's playing a lot better than Russell Wilson, and maybe Seattle really found something here. The Jaguars are moving back a ton, 11 spots, and this is due to the fact that they should have beat the Texans pretty well, and they lose at home, only score 6 points, didn't score in the second half, and the big interception that Lawrence threw in the end zone, pretty much to take the lead, to maybe make it 13-6 or even a field goal 9-6. And since that moment, they just couldn't even get close to that. But the Jaguars, I thought they would be turning a page, but here they are not turning a page, and they need to turn things around fast if they want to get back up there. 24, we got the Texans going from last to here. They get their first win on the road against those Jaguars. Dameon Pierce has been solid. Davis Mills, doing enough. Good game manager. Didn't make any mistakes this week, and that's why they won. But they're going into the bye this week to really regroup and assess some things and then come out, possibly get on a hot streak. 23, we got the Raiders. The big storyline here from them this week was Devontae Adams pushing the guy over at the end. Nothing with the game, maybe the going for two call, didn't get it. It was questionable because they could have kicked it and tied it and possibly went down 1. Darren Waller left with an injury. And, back to Devontae. This dude could be getting suspended. The news just came out that he went to the hospital last night, the guy that he pushed over, and probably is going to file charges. So not looking good for Devontae and these Raiders. It seems like every year they have problems with players, and here's the first of many. 22, we got the Cardinals dropping after they almost put off the upset against the Eagles, but the miscue of Kyler Murray thinking he got a first down. Instead, he spiked the ball on 3rd and 1, and it led to them having to kick a field goal, and they did, and they missed it. And that's, unfortunate, but it came down to it. Kyler Murray should have been aware. It could have been the coach's fault, possibly. He's got to know the situation too and just go from there. But, other than that, he had a pretty solid game, and they're really anxious to get DeAndre Hopkins back week 7. 21, we got the Patriots moving up after their win against the Lions. Obviously, they blanked the highest scoring offense. They didn't have any answer for the Patriots defense today. Bailey Zappi pretty solid, throwing his first career touchdown pass. And Damian Harris looks like he's going to be out a few weeks, where Ramon Stevenson is going to pretty much step up and be almost a 25-30 carry back now. So all you fantasy guys out there, if he's somehow still available in your league, you got to go scoop him up. This Patriots team, maybe they'll get Mac Jones back soon. We still don't have an update on that. But once they get him back, this team may be able to pull off some upsets and shock a few people. 20, we got the Broncos. And, well, this team is just hard to watch. Russell Wilson, 2 interceptions, almost 300 yards. But other than that, what did he do that made this team better? Nothing. They got 3 field goals, and they lost to 4 field goals. And that's pretty much all you can say about this Broncos team on Thursday Night Football. How do they get to rebound with a Monday Night Football game in LA against the Chargers? And I think they will get absolutely blown out. 19, we got the Browns dropping a spot after their loss to the Chargers. The missed field goal with 10 seconds left cost the Browns a big win at home. Thanks to Brandon Staley, they had good field position, and they just couldn't capitalize at the end. Couldn't win the game. But, Nick Chubb obviously had a great game yet again. Jacoby Brissett's doing enough to put this team in a position to win, but his interceptions just at the end of the game just aren't it. I think he has 4 interceptions now in 4th quarter and 1 possession games. It's not a stat you want me to know. So he needs to improve on that moving forward. When Deshaun gets back, I think they need to be at least 5-5, 6-5, 5-6, somewhere around there to really give the Browns a shot. The Colts coming in at 18 with their field goal win over the Broncos. Got the interception in the end zone to halt the Broncos, and pretty much then they drove the field, kicked the field goal, send it to overtime, and win in field goal range. But Matt Ryan still needs to elevate his play. Didn't throw for a touchdown, got him in positions, but 2 interceptions. That was pretty good. And Alec Pierce pretty much stepped up. But Jonathan Taylor, the big question around him, will be able to go week 6 against the Jaguars. The Saints moving up 5 spots here into 17th with Taysom Hill pretty much leading the way. 22 passing yards, 112 rushing yards, 3 total touchdowns, a fumble recovery on special teams. He is the Swiss Army knife right now for this Saints team, really keeping them afloat. Olave obviously left with a head injury, very scary after he caught his touchdown. Kamara almost 200 total yards, and then Dalton did just enough to get this team the win. At halfway point, we got the Jets. After their big win against the Dolphins at home, they're looking pretty solid now with Zach Wilson still slowly getting back into it. All 5 of the touchdowns came on the ground, so the running game is very good this year with Breece Hall and Michael Carter. They're a good 1-2 punch, but Breece Hall is clearly the running back 1. This was a stat I found interesting, that it was their first win against a divisional opponent since week 17 against Buffalo in 2019. Yes, pre-COVID, it's been that long. Could this be a surprise team? If they go on the road and beat Green Bay, you could be looking at a possibly almost top 10 team next week. 15, we got the Rams drop in a little bit after their not embarrassing loss to the Cowboys, but disappointing, I think is the right word. They got held scoreless in the second half. Stafford struggled, only 38 rushing yards, and Allen Robinson is still not being involved in the game, in any game plan. And once they finally get him involved, this team can be a lot better, because then you'll have Higbee, Kupp, and Allen Robinson actually being utilized, and it'll be tougher for defenses to stop. But they should have an easy rebound game this week against the Panthers. 14, we got the Titans squeaking out a win against the Commanders. This week they have a bye, so they can think about their 3-2 start. But they get the interception at the 1-yard line to seal the game. Derrick Henry had another great game. But for me, I'm not sold on Tannehill still. I think Malik Willis might get a shot this year if this team starts to fade a little bit. If they go on a quick 3-game, 4-game losing streak, maybe they'll throw Willis in there to kind of give him a new life. But, for right now, I think Tannehill is going to be the guy until he starts to struggle. 13, we got the Bengals staying put after their tough luck loss to Justin Tucker and the Ravens. The big question, or sorry, big storyline from them is the third quarter drive where they didn't score at all. They went for it and then had a very bad third down play or second down play, got to the 2 yard line on third down, and they went for it on fourth and threw an incomplete pass and didn't walk away with any points. You look back on those things, if you lose in like a 3-point, 2-point game, and that's where the Bengals are here. Well, while Burrow played pretty solid, they just couldn't capitalize when they needed it most. 12, we got the Los Angeles Chargers. After their big win against the Browns, Staley had a very questionable go for it on fourth call, but he relied on his defense and they got it done for him. They won by 2, missed the field goal at the end, and Eckler had his first game of the year where he was playing like last year, almost 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. 11, we have the Dolphins falling out of the top 10, and they had to because, well, they got embarrassed in New York to the Jets, and Bridgewater got hurt on the first drive, which resulted in him not coming back after the new concussion protocols. Could that be was it the right decision? Was it the wrong decision? I don't know. But either way, they still got to adapt and learn how to play with that, and they just couldn't get things figured out. But Mostert was probably the only positive sign coming from this game. Starting in the top 10, we have the Ravens with their game-winning field goal kick from Justin Tucker. Another game, it's pretty much game over when he comes in to kick. The defense got that big goal line stop I was talking about earlier, and Lamar had a pretty okay game, nothing too spectacular, but did just enough to get that win. Where now they have a tough game on the road in New York against the Giants, which I think is a game that not too many people thought would be a very good game. At 9, we got my Packers with a tough loss in London to the Giants. This week they rebound with the Jets at home, so it'll be the battle of 3 and 2s. But this team really struggled in the second half. Didn't score at all until the Giants gifted them 2 points. Jones and Dillon had 114 total yards, didn't really do too much. And Rodgers got it going early, but just couldn't get anything going in the second half. Looked like they were all out of sync. And, the 2 incompletions on third and fourth down to possibly tie the game, it just didn't work. Didn't even get past the line of scrimmage with the 2 batted balls. 8, we have those Giants jumping into the top 10, 4-1. Best 5-game start since 2011 where they won the Super Bowl. But Saquon, is there concern there now after he left the game with an injury? But he did return for a touchdown and over 100 total yards. But, that could be something to monitor for the next few weeks. And then you have Daniel Jones playing excellent, getting hurt, and still putting his body on the line to get this win for them. And they're facing the Ravens at home. If this team beats the Ravens, you might be looking at a top 5 team next week. 7, we have the Niners moving up a few after their embarrassment of the Panthers. Pretty much got Matt Rule fired, but they held Carolina to 3 points in the first half, and it was pretty much over after that. The only negative for this team is the injuries. Mosley possibly tore his ACL. Bosa could be out with a groin injury. Jimmy Ward broke his hand, and Robbie Gould has a knee contusion, so he could be out for a little bit too. So the Niners won, but at what cost? And it's not like a good cost right now. At 6, we have the Minnesota Vikings, who got that win at home against the Bears. Dalvin Cook finally had a big game, what we normally would think of him. 121 total yards, 2 touchdowns. Justin Jefferson had a career day as well with his most receptions in a game with 12, and he got a 2-point conversion. And this team is looking pretty solid, a 4-1 start, leading the NFC North, and they go into Miami this week with a tough matchup. Starting our top 5, we have the Dallas Cowboys with a big win on the road in LA against the Rams, and they get rewarded with a Sunday night football game in Philly, which will be a very good divisional game. But let's talk about last week's game. Zeke and Pollard totaled 164 rushing yards. Defense came up yet again and stopped Stafford, and Cooper Rush managed the game well, and he's still undefeated in his career. This team still doesn't even have Dak, and I think, what are you going to do when he's officially cleared to return? Can he, be the guy that they really think he's going to be and come back and pretty much accelerate this offense to another level? Or is it going to be he's going to come back and really struggle and kind of fail from what happened? At 4, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Their win against the Falcons was a lot closer than I think expected. Kind of in the fourth quarter, didn't really do too much. But they did get bailed out with that roughing the passer call. Obviously, Fournette had a great game, 2 touchdowns over 100 yards. And Brady has never lost to Atlanta in his career, 11-0. And, obviously the Super Bowl comes up when you think about that. Brady, is finally starting to get a groove. He's not doing too much, but you can tell him and his receivers are starting to get it on a better page. Chiefs moving up a spot after, the win last night in Monday Night Football. Might have lost that game But Matthew Wright, I think, was the big storyline before half, hitting that career-long field goal and really kind of motivating them to come out of half and start strong. And that's exactly what they did. Kelsey went for 4 touchdowns. Mahomes obviously threw all 4 to Kelsey with almost 300 passing yards. And this Chiefs team has a very good matchup against those number 2 Bills. And they obviously dominated the Steelers 38-3 going into Kansas City. It's going to be a tough matchup for them. Obviously, we get to see rematch after rematch after rematch in almost every year's playoffs. Josh Allen is going to be the storyline here. Can he actually limit Mahomes and keep the defense with Von Miller now? But the weak secondary, can they step up to the challenge and limit that Chiefs team? And that one, of course, we got the Philadelphia Eagles, the only undefeated team left in the NFL, with their close victory 20-17 against the Cardinals. And now they have Cowboys on Sunday Night Football, which should be an excellent game. But this Eagles team kind of got bailed out and got that win. Murray's miscue on 3rd and 1 led to the Cardinals having to attempt a field goal, which they missed. And the offense really struggled in the second half, only scoring 2 field goals. But this Eagles team, a win is a win. And if it's an ugly win, you'll take it, especially being undefeated. But now I think they have their real, true, tough matchup against the Cowboys. But that's going to be it for the video today. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button to 200 subscribers while we're doing that giveaway. Until next time, the Bench Buddies are out.